It's a very great pleasure to welcome him back here today, and I invite him now to respond on behalf of the graduating students. Jim.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Roy. I'm happy my sister was able to make it here today. It's her first time ever in London, so glad you're here. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Vice Chancellor, friends and family, administrators and faculty, and of course, the wonderfully gifted and talented members of this golden cohort who are graduating here today. I've been asked to speak to you as a representative of this class to discuss the reasons I came to CAS, my experience over this past year, and what I'm currently doing today. So let me start with that last point, because I'm at the microphone and I'm at the podium and I do have the microphone. I want to use this opportunity as shameless self-promotion to say that I'm currently unemployed, and if there's anybody here who knows somebody in the infrastructure asset management or engineering consulting, which sounds like there is, and is looking to hire a recent MBA graduate with impeccable public speaking skills, see me after the ceremony. Like Roy said, I'm from the United States, originally from Philadelphia, and have spent the past 8 years living and working in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as a civil engineer delivering multi-million-dollar infrastructure projects to the Department of Transportation. After a few years, I realized that there was little room for growth if I continued down the same path in operations. If I wanted to progress, I would have to develop skills and knowledge in areas like finance, strategy, and business development, all of which an MBA has to offer. Considering I'd only been outside the United States 2 or 3 times in my life, the decision to pursue an international degree was seen as a great opportunity to embark on a new adventure, to get out of my comfort zone and meet people from all over the world. CAS was able to provide these things and allowed me to continue my education in the heart of arguably the greatest city on earth. I'm extremely honored to have been asked to speak to you today, albeit a little surprised as well, considering I feel like I spent a little too much time in the pub and on the football pitch. But I tell you this because what surprised me most about this past year, and it really didn't occur to me until all of our classes were finished, was how much I learned during times like these, outside of the classroom, from you, my classmates. Now, I'm not taking anything away from our professors, because they are some of the most brilliant and inspirational professors that I have come across. But it was outside the classroom, at the pub, at dinners, at shows and ballets, while listening and engaging in conversations with you, where I did most of my learning. I did most of my learning from you after our weekly football games when we would go to the pub. And after laughing about how bad the American is at football, the conversation would inevitably shift towards what we learned in class that week, or how we were planning to study for the upcoming exams. I did most of my learning from you at the hotel in Warsaw, Poland. After a long day of consulting, we would sit down with a beer and discuss this emerging economy, the excitement and challenges it's going to face the next few years, as the older generation that grew up under the communist regime begins to retire, and this young and vibrant generation of business leaders begin to take over. I did most of my learning from you in Dubai, while bashing sand dunes on the way to Abu Dhabi, or standing atop the Burj Khalifa, staring out at this wondrous city and seeing just what can be accomplished with great vision and leadership, and discussing how Dubai can perhaps become the geographic, political, and economic bridge between the East and the West. And finally, I did most of my learning from you in South Africa, where we had the chance to meet and talk with some of the country's most important leaders during its transition out of apartheid, like ex-president and Nobel Peace Prize recipient F.W. de Klerk, captain of the 1994 World Cup winning rugby team Francois Pienaar, and Dr. Richard Mponya, perhaps the most successful black South African businessman during the apartheid era. But again, I did my learning with you guys on our trip to Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela spent 27 years as a political prisoner, and on our bus rides through some of the townships of Cape Town and Johannesburg. It was on these bus rides where I had the chance to talk to some of you who grew up in that country during apartheid and went to segregated schools, and discuss how far this country has come in the past 20 years, and yet just how much further it still has to go. To those of us who were there, the recent passing of Mr. Mandela has surely taken on an entirely new and powerful meaning in our lives. The way in which we learned this past year is truly a testament to Cass and its definition of what an education is. That the best way to learn is to get outside of your comfort zone, get out into the real world, and to talk and learn from as many people as possible from all different backgrounds. Sadly, these past few months have been difficult. Seeing these people with whom I've created such strong bonds with and have learned so much from, one by one, are moving back to their home countries. However, because of this program, I now have friends all over the world, and wherever my travels may take me, there will always be a friend to call, have a beer with, and perhaps do a little more learning. So thanks to all of you for making this such an amazing year. Congratulations, be excellent to each other, and God bless.